Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 39 of the SMB Talks. There was a bit of a confusion there. I got confused. I thought today is episode 40, but today's episode 39. Anyways, it's been a crazy week, right? It's if you look at me, you can see I'm super tired. Uh, Coronavirus has caused and havoc in our country, right? First phase, exactly 1 year ago, there were no deaths in my circle. There were no friends getting admitted in ICU, etc. But here I am, after a year, hearing negativity and negative news, bad news every freaking hour. I'm so tired, right? I'm on Twitter almost 24/7, trying to help as much as people possible. Everybody, please amplify the message needed to reach people who are in dire need. There is lack of oxygen, there is lack of hospital bed, there is lack of food, there's lack of million things. So it's a crazy week. I didn't have the courage or the energy to do the show today, but then I had an awesome guest whom I had committed to. So commitment is always a commitment. And also, I wanted to discuss this topic with him for a long time, and he published a fantastic book recently. So I was super excited to meet him. Otherwise, trust me, I had no energy to be coming live today and talking. Right? It's not the right time, or I'm not in the right mindset to do this. But here I am. So welcome to episode 39 of the SMB Talks. Today we will be discussing something which is a phenomenon which has picked up over the recent years, right? We are talking about things like social selling, account-based marketing. These are all the terms most of the marketers throw around, but hardly few of them might know what exactly it is. So fortunately, I have a good friend who knows this stuff inside out. He has agreed to come on the show. So today I have Sudhir Kumar with me. He is the director and master growth architect at Origin Growth, a boutique growth marketing agency in Royal Leamington Spa. Having worked in sales and marketing for over 15 years, he has a passion for making a scalable difference in an organization's sales and has the statistics to prove it. Trust me, if you follow him on LinkedIn, or if you follow the content he prepares, you get to know that this guys know what he's talking about, right? With an approach that gets under the skin of his clients to develop thoughtful, creative, consistent branding and messages to position them in a way that resonates and reaches the target audience. Sudhir's technique is hands-on as a member of the team. Having been fortunate enough to have worked with a wide variety of B2B and B2C clients across sectors like technology, automotive, utilities, and finance across Europe, Asia, US, and UK, he's an established professional with a wealth of experience, both agency and client side. Over the last 5 years, he has generated millions of pounds in sales revenue directly from implementing tailored account-based marketing and social selling strategies. He recently wrote a fantastic book, Being Human, Marketing and Social Selling in a Digital World. So we will be talking about all that. So I am super excited to learn about account-based marketing. It's something which I am learning myself. So without further ado, let me bring him on.
Hi Vivek, thanks for the intro again.
Hey, thank you so much for coming back on the show, and I'm congratulations on the book, first of all.
Thank you. It was a long time coming. I think originally I said to you possibly before Christmas I was going to try and get it out there, but working away at it, it was a new project, something new that I hadn't done before in terms of publishing a book, and I just wanted to get it right. So I'm glad that I've got it done. It's out there, and the response has been good. And appreciate you having me on your show again.
Hey, no worries. I'm super excited. I got the copy. I'm yet to finish it, but it's been amazing. I've just started reading it. I'm not getting time to finish it. So once I finish it, I'll give you my honest feedback about it.
That'd be great. Yeah, definitely appreciate that.
Fantastic. So how has been the experience of publishing your own book for the first time?
It was interesting because the actual writing part I didn't find hard because as you said in that lovely intro you've given me, I do produce a lot of content. this was something that I originally wanted to do as a goal. I'm a very goal-orientated individual. So 2019, I felt that through my experiences of marketing, here, Europe, US, there was a common theme. There were common challenges that I was coming across, and I was always, as you know, produce YouTube videos and do guides and white papers and blogs. So I thought, that if I was getting really good interaction and people were appreciating that, then why not put it into a book? So the actual writing process was fine for me. It was the other side, the formatting, the publishing, getting it on Amazon, and then looking at the cover and how it would work, and then how the words actually sit on a page in terms of hyphenation and text font and font sizes. So it was a completely new experience to me, and I spent a lot of time, had a great team to work with that I've known and built up friendships over the years in terms of designing the book and then layout and even the proofreading of it. So it was tough, but it was a good experience for me, and I'm glad that it's done, and I just hope people find it of use and of value.
Fantastic. It's kind of a dream for every professional to write a book of his own or her own, and you have accomplished it. So congrats on that.
Appreciate it.
All right. So last time, when you were here, we had a 101 of social selling, right?
Yeah.
You shared a lot of insights on social selling, how to kickstart your social selling program, and what are the things you should do and shouldn't do, etc. So today we will be talking. I want to talk a little bit about account-based marketing with you, right? Because every company these days wants to, think about account-based marketing, or maybe take some baby steps towards it. So it's all about it. So if you're ready, we can start off.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it.
All right. So, from social selling, so last time we discussed it. So how do you think it is connected with account-based marketing? Whenever I was doing my research, these two terms were thrown around together. So what is the connection there?
The fact that they are connected together for me is a positive, because, as we spoke about last time, they both carry the same theme and purpose, which is to build relationships with the audience. You're looking for that human-to-human interaction. We covered a lot last time in terms of how to connect with the audience, understanding them on a human level, offering them value, insight, building rapport, trust, so you can really start to develop that relationship and understand the individual that you're trying to connect with, so you can truly serve them. So social selling for me, the reason why I feel it's such a good thing to adopt in terms of the culture, the mindset and approach, is because it really helps you in terms of change the way that you think about approaching people. Because traditionally, intrusive marketing, Seth Godin spoke about this a lot in terms of intrusive marketing, ads and emails and cold calls, which is we don't like it. We're all human beings. We take ourselves for how we like to be approached. We prefer people to actually know us, to give us something that is of interest to us. We expect businesses and brands to understand us on that human level. This is the world that we live in now. So intrusive marketing does not work. Social selling will set you up to have the mindset to start to actually invest the time to understand the individual that you want to connect with on a human level, and understand really how you can serve them if they are the right fit. So the reason why they fit so well together is a lot of people, and I've been in the situation before where people come to us and they're like, we want ABM. They may have heard of the buzzword, they may have downloaded a guide. We want ABM because we know that ABM delivers the most ROI against any of the marketing strategy. Right. But to manage their expectations, it's like, well, do you actually understand what it takes to do ABM? ABM isn't just a piece of software that's just going to go away and automate it. It isn't something that marketing goes away and does. It's something that a business adopts a culture and mindset, and sales and marketing have to align. And it takes a lot of cultural change, which is often a very big barrier in any business of any size. If you can implement social selling first, and you can show the value within that, you can show the benefits and the results, that when it comes to doing an ABM campaign, there is less hesitance, there is less hurdles to jump over, because they've already started to experience what you can do from actually investing the time up front to understand the individuals and to work closely with marketing to have decent conversations, to nurture relationships correctly, to create content specifically for your audience, there's all these key elements that you would adopt in an ABM strategy, but that's really high level. So that's why I think the two are so often connected together. And it's a good thing to hear that they are being connected together, because, if anyone's thinking about jumping into ABM cold, I would always say adopt social selling. Do 6 months of social selling, test the waters with your teams, see how your business and culture responds. Because if you jump straight into an ABM, because there is so much upfront time and investment and cost, the last thing you want is for people to have disinterest and it falls flat on its face.
Right. That makes absolute sense, actually. Right. So, so for people who don't know this, by the way, Kelly says congrats to you on your publication, Kelly.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. So, for people who don't understand what is ABM or account-based marketing, how do you put it? What is it and why is it critical today, according to you?
So there's lots of definitions out there. My definition is that ABM is a focus and targeting. It's a B2B marketing approach where sales and marketing align. They work together to identify target accounts, key target accounts, those best fit accounts, those ideal customers that you can work with, you can truly serve. You want those accounts, and you work on just those accounts alone. So when it comes to marketing analogies, you're not casting your net high and wide and trying to get as much leads as you can. You just focus on this list, whether it's 10, 50, and it's a high value accounts. Okay, they're not small accounts. These are the high average order value, and you're focused on understanding them, understanding the business, the whole structure, and connecting with them on that human to human level, so you can actually start to serve those people. So again, it goes back to being permission based. You're not going in on instant sales pitches. You're actually taking the time to understand them. You're engaging with those people. You're engaging with the entire account, because again, when it comes to decision making process, as we all know, there's more than one person involved. So who are those key decision makers that you need to get in front of when it comes to those key accounts you want to acquire as customers? What are those people? What are their roles? What are their common pain points? What are their challenges? How can you help each person individually? Then it's about crafting that content. How can you nurture these people individually? What content do you need? How can you actually show use cases that if they work with you or use your product or software, it's going to benefit them? So right. It's a total different approach. ABM has been around for a very, very long time, especially traditional ABM, one-to-one ABM. I think IBM were the first ones to do it. And what's really changed now is this influx of new technology, new methods and new strategies that, again, as humans, we like to make life easy for ourselves. So moving away from the traditional sort of IBM approach, which I prefer. It's very hands-on, very labor-intensive, and it's all real time, to using software tools to automate certain parts. So ABM for me, if I could define it, is truly human-to-human marketing.
Right, absolutely. I think that is the need of the hour also. Everybody expects that kind of support from the vendors or the companies who are selling to them. All right, so you already touched upon this, but still I want to ask this question. So does that mean that ABM applies only to B2B organization, or is it for everyone? What are your thoughts?
For me, there's some really good elements you can take away from ABM. So as I said, true ABM, that's focused on really one-to-one, and then you've got other levels, one-to-few, one-to-many. But for me, I don't really class those as ABM, because you're going after a wider audience with the less personalization. So in essence, it's that sort of inbound marketing, you could call it, or a standard marketing strategy. But one thing that I think everyone should adopt, or at least take note of when it comes to ABM, is that it brings its own culture, its own mindset and strategy. So why not try to adopt elements of this in your business, in your teams as professionals? Try to be real in our marketing, in our communications, and always look to try to add value first. It's all about adding value before you try to extract it, and position yourselves as the experts, as the thought leaders, as the people to go to that are the experts within that industry, or the experts for dealing with that specific problem. So ABM, yes, is predominantly for B2B, but I definitely feel that there's elements within that everyone should be able to take on board.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. Right. So now let's talk about ABM strategy. I wanna ask you this simple question: what are the basic steps involved in building an effective ABM strategy?
Okay, so an in-depth version you can find in here with a diagram and lots of insight. From a broad top level view, I would say first off is really about identifying your key accounts. Now, the most important phase when it comes to ABM is the setup phase. So when it comes to ABM, if we take into consideration, the average lifespan of an ABM approach or strategy, you're looking, between 12 and 18 months minimum. People do run pilot schemes for 6 months just to test the water, just again to see how their team and the business and the culture sort of adopt and perform under this new approach. But the setup phase really is where you lay your foundation, you invest the most amount of time. If you try to skip any of the investment phase, you try to cut back on costs, you try to cut corners, it will massively affect the end result. So ABM is about investing the time up front. So you need to spend the time to identify your audience. So you're looking at trying to build that ideal profile list. Who are those key accounts that you guys want to go after, whether it's 10 or it's 50. So then that requires you to do your homework, do your research. You need to know technographics, firmographics, use tools such as Data9 and DataFox to find out that information. And then it's about building real life buyer personas, so not fictional ones as you would do in inbound marketing. In ABM, it is about real life buyer personas. So what can I find out about you, Vivek?
Right.
What information is there out there? Use tools such as LinkedIn, use other tools that can profile and look at the type of content you're consuming, look at the groups that you're part of. Look at your online activity, look at your digital footprint, because now, especially now more than ever, I think everyone's got a digital footprint.
Right.
And then try to pick up on nuances. And then it's about, once you've identified your list, identified those key individuals, and you're expanded into that account in terms of looking at all the other key decision makers, then it's, okay, how do we engage with these people? What sort of content do we need to create? Because you need some content before you go live. So from the basic preliminary research that you do, you want to create some content, whether it's top of the funnel, that's going to start to resonate with these people. From your research, you will look at, sort of the key sort of topics that are trending, or key laws and stipulations that have come into place, content that's actually relevant for now. And, you want to write content that is really going to hit home and resonate with those people. So I always say, I'm not talking about doing the top 10 tips. It has to be very specific. So, that's really going to appeal to those individuals that you're trying to get in front of. So it could be a particular challenge that these people are facing. It could be something to do with their job role. So they actually feel that, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. That's what I do. That's what I deal with. That's currently what I'm having to go through, or I'm going to have to do that 2, 3, 6 months down the line. Really getting that granular detail of trying to resonate with that individual and having a conversation around that topic. So doing your research, a content plan, building out subject matters, looking at the channels these people are on. What channels do you use? What channels you're on, how often are you on those channels, the time of day, and the format. What format is working the best within this industry, within this specific sector? Some people don't like videos, some people like white papers. Is it podcasts? Podcasts is huge at the moment. Webinars. There's so much to take into consideration. So you need to build a content plan and a bank of content before you start to go live. And then once you've done that, you've built your list, you know who you're going after, then it's about how are you going to go after these people. You need to then start to post so you stay front of mind. You then need to start to follow these individuals and try to connect with them, have conversations around subject matters, offer them value. It's really that nurturing process, but you have to do it in a way that it seems natural. You can't, I always call it professional stalking, because you are monitoring, you're monitoring people's real life activity, but you're doing it in a way where say that you're quite active on LinkedIn. So if I was following you, I would like your post. If you're posting specific content, if you're commenting, and I feel I can add to that conversation or I can give you my perspective, I would do that. That way, you would become aware of me. You would look at my profile. You would see what I was doing. I'm posting quite regularly. It's non-salesy. It's value-added content. This person looks like someone I can connect with, or who would bring value to my network. I'm happy to connect with that individual. Then it's, how can we take this conversation further? Can I speak to this individual about subject matter and possibly cross-collaborate? Can I send them a white paper in the post and put a post note to say, I really think you'll find page 6 in the subject matter of use to you? There's so many different elements that you have to consider. And that's one of the things that I love about ABM, especially one-to-one ABM, because it's real time. So the more you do, the more interactions that you have, the more you'll learn. And the more you learn, that will adapt your touch points, your content, and your strategy moving forward. It's ever evolving.
Absolutely. Because folks who are listening to this or who want to get into ABM, it's not an easy thing to do. There is tons of work you need to do. There's tons of research you have to do on your audience, etc., etc. So be prepared to put in the efforts. Be prepared to invest your energy in preparing the content, doing your audience research, etc., etc. That's fantastic.
100%.
So
I would say just a final point on that is, whenever we've done ABM campaigns, again, it's always about managing people's expectations. And I do say to them, at a minimum, I need 2 months, at a bare minimum. And that could be working with one sales individual. And sometimes that's very hard for people to take, because they're, in their head, for 2 months, nothing's going to happen. You are working in the background, but in terms of something online, seeing some visibility, nothing is going to happen, because you need to do that. You need to invest the time up front. That's why I said, if you try to cut corners, you try to quicken things up, you won't get the end result. So invest the time up front and you will get the results. Right.
Absolutely. So, don't mind me. I'm just in between. I'm looking at something.
That's fine.
It's just that the COVID pandemic is crazy here. So we are trying to arrange oxygen cylinders and food, etc., for people. So the Twitter is always on. That's where the action is happening. So I'm just looking at if somebody has asked me anything. So don't mind that. I'm just
saying it up front. I totally understand. It's actually fine.
Yeah. All right. So we got the basic steps out. Now I want to, because you have done ABM strategy for several of your clients, I know that for a fact. So I want your top advice for organizations who haven't done this and who want to build their ABM strategy. What are your top advice for them?
Managing expectations again. ABM, it isn't about something that marketing will just go away and do. ABM has to be accepted and adopted business wide. It's a culture, it's a mindset. Yes, there's a lot of cost involved, because due to all the resource and time you invest into this, right. And it's a long sales cycle as well. But you need to take consideration that you are going after high value key accounts. So the ROI is there to be had, but everybody needs to be on board with this. So yes, sales and marketing do need to align, but also the C-suite need to back this initiative. Everyone needs to be on the same page, because if anyone isn't on the same page, and you're a month, you're 2 months into ABM campaign, and then you get bored, you get frustrated because you're waiting. Well, nothing's happened. Give me update on reports, and it's like, well, we're still nurturing accounts. ABM takes time. Because it is real time, you can't really predict when an account or breakthrough will happen. But as I said, it takes time, and when one does happen, you learn something new and you adapt and you evolve from it. So I would say managing expectations in terms of when you will start to see results. I would say typically, hopefully from 6 to 12 months, toward the middle and the back end of let's say a 12-month campaign. That's when you will start to see engagement and conversations having to happen. So managing expectations in terms of when to expect results, the time span, ABM, the sales cycle, and whole ABM strategy. Again, as I said, it's roughly between 12 and 18 months, unless you're running a pilot campaign. The budget, be prepared to invest upfront heavily, but again, you're doing that because the ROI is great at the end. And then just alignment across the board, across the business and the culture. Everyone is in this. Everyone is working together towards that end goal. Everyone is agreed on the target accounts that we're going after. Everyone is agreed in terms of the positioning. Every detail. It's not just marketing go away, make it happen. It's everybody needs to be involved. Sales. Those are the people that are out there that are having this conversation. They have so much insight. They need to feed that back into marketing, and marketing then need to do their bit in terms of positioning these people, giving them the resource. In essence, giving salespeople the tools and the positioning so they can then have these conversations. Marketing needs to help them open the doors, warm up these conversations, so then they can go in and start to nurture these people. And together, working as a team, they should then start to look at the nuances, pick up on attributes and conversations that they're having, and continue to develop these people. So the biggest one, I would say, is managing expectations across the business. That's the biggest thing I would say to everyone. And just look at ABM as a whole. Don't look at it as a piece of software that I'm going to buy and I'm going to switch it on and I'm just going to get loads of leads, because that's not going to happen.
Right. Absolutely. That's very practical advice over there. Right. So, since there are a lot of things, organizations and a lot of teams need to come together and put their act together and get the ABM strategy in place, are there any tools you recommend which they can employ while implementing a good ABM strategy?
There's been a huge amount of ABM tools come to the table. There's a popular ones that I'm sure we've all heard of: Engagio, Terminus, obviously with Sanger and Vajre, who's again great at ABM in terms of content and leadership that he puts out there. And then you've got the likes of Magento, Demandbase, and even HubSpot have got an element of ABM within it. For me, sort of the key tools that I use and would recommend in the research sort of phase, I use Datanyze, DataFox, Inside View, Owler, ZoomInfo, and LinkedIn. So that's a lot to do with technographics, firmographics, personas, profiling. And then one tool that's been out for a while, and it would be great to use, I haven't had the chance yet, is Bombora, which is just basically the intent data. That's the premiership piece of software tool that I would love to use. I know Oracle use that in terms of their ABM strategy to phenomenal results. But there is a lot out there. My advice to people would be just to use the trials, look at the reviews, and see exactly what these tools can do. A lot of them, these so-called automation tools, will allow you to automate sort of touch points, personalized to a certain element. It just really comes down to how much resource you have and how hands-on you want to be. My preferred approach and methodology that I talk about in the book is very hands-on, so labor-intensive. Individuals will actually be, managing and nurturing the relationships, writing responses, writing content, rather than relying on a piece of software to use template sort of emails and touch points to sort of nurture the relationship. I prefer to take a human-to-human approach because, yes, it's labor-intensive, but I don't feel that human-to-human response can be manipulated and replicated by a machine.
Right. Absolutely. So, rather than worrying about the tools and the technology and all that, it's better buy Sudhir's book, Being Human.
Yeah.
Figure the basics out, what to do, and then you will figure out the tools by yourself. It's not a problem at all. All right. So now, since this is an organization-wide initiative, there'll be C-suite involved, sales, marketing, all those folks, then obviously the key thing which will be discussed will be ROI. For the ROI, you have to track some metrics. So what are the key metrics to focus on while measuring the impact of your ABM strategy?
I would look at a few things. One of them would be the engagement. So engagement that you are having from conversations. So what type of feedback are you guys getting? Are you guys targeting the right market? Are you targeting the right accounts? Are you targeting the right individuals? I've been in situations before, where we always do collaboration whenever we work, but kicked off an ABM campaign. We identified the list. We started the process. And they were just adamant that the CTO was a key individual that they wanted to get in front of. But once we actually broke into these accounts, we started to have the conversations. We actually found out it wasn't just the CTO. There were other C-suite individuals that we needed to get in front of. So always look at your engagement and always try to get the feedback in terms of what's working and what isn't. And the same goes for content, because again, you want to stay front of mind. You're posting content in various formats on the channels that your targeted individuals are on. So you're visible, but is it getting that connection? Is it driving people to click and read that blog? Is it having people view the videos, download the white paper? So look at the content that's resonating, because if it's not, then maybe you need to look at the content plan that you have. Maybe you didn't do enough research. Maybe you're not writing technical enough for your audience. And look at the sales cycle length. Has it shortened? Since you've adopted this process, has it shortened? Is it longer? Because again, you're going after high value key accounts. And then I would also look at touch point completion. ABM, has a lot of touch points because you're looking at true lead generation. So are you completing every touch point? What is the average interaction with touch points? Are some doing better than others? Why is that? So all of these elements I would take on board in terms of ROI, and each of those elements will appeal to different C-suite. But in essence, for me, whenever I'm doing reporting mechanisms, I add those in. But the key one that everyone wants to know is, okay, so in account A, how far along are we? So how many people have we connected with? How many conversations are going on? And how far are we in terms of getting that meeting booked? How many more people do we need to speak to? Is that account, are they open for a conversation? Do they already have another supplier, or are they flat interested? So again, each account needs to be handled and looked at individually, and then you have a clear understanding of where to put your efforts, because again, you might not get every account, or you might break into account and they're like, we're fine, we've tied up with the supplier, thanks for your time. So then to take that one off your list, add another one in, and focus your efforts elsewhere.
Right. It's totally, it's kind of mind-boggling actually. The current way of selling, and this is totally different, right? It
flips it on his head. Flip the funnel, which I'm sure everyone will be aware of.
Exactly.
The diagram as well. It's flipping it on its head. You've got to completely change your thinking. You can't go out at the masses and just focus on these accounts.
Right. While I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about how the sales guys are selling, and with this kind of mention about the account, the kind of conversation they can have it's totally different. It's fantastic.
It's totally different, but it's always been there.
Right.
We've always had access to it, and now with everything that's gone on around us in terms of the pandemic, if you look at the acceleration, the adoption of digital, even those that are not digitally native or were digitally hesitant have had to adopt digital. How many people are now having Zoom and Skype calls that they wouldn't have before? Communications, our behavior, businesses have adapted. So in essence, they should be more comfortable now online, and all the resources there for them to do that. So it's literally, taking elements that we used to do back in the day, face-to-face, in terms of knowing the individuals and networking, and now it's about trying to adapt that and replicate it online.
Right. I can see the proliferation of tools like Drift, Loom, etc., which has got video. You can send video messages to your prospects and clients. So all that will come into this, the kind of interaction you have.
When I do that, I use Vidyard. I'm a keen one to send video messages out to people to get that human interaction across. I feel that if you can make an effort and personalize your outreach rather than just sending a standard copy and paste message, that person's going to appreciate that. And if you're personalizing what you're saying, you've taken the time to understand them or read their profile or read a piece of content that they've written, and you're offering value. Let's catch up. Let's talk about this. I feel we have a lot of synergy. Then that's a total different approach to can I help you with this, or sending them a white paper or a direct sales message, which still happens today.
Right. I know. Rather than reading an email, a person would prefer seeing you via video and then coming on a call with you. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. So now I know that you have been, whenever you are explaining these methods, tips, do's and don'ts, etc. I can see one common thread among all these, which is social media. So how critical a role does social media play in executing an ABM strategy?
Well, it really comes down to in ABM and all marketing strategies is what are the key channels. So social media is a key channel. We're all on social. When it comes to your marketing and your audience, your targeted audience, it's about understanding, well, what channels are they on? Where do they live online? So it plays an absolutely key part. But it's not the only channel. I mean, lockdown, pre-COVID, direct mail for me is still a phenomenal channel. It's still a phenomenal tool. Getting something tangible in the post, I don't think you can beat that. And the personalization, and it's another way of cutting through the noise. Social's great, but as we know, a lot of noise, a lot of content, a lot of ads around us. So to really cut through that noise, that's why your content has to be different to everyone else's. You have to invest in research, the time up front. So the content, the branding, the imagery, the text description that you use, all of that is catered to your target audience. So it will stand out. It will resonate to the point where they want to engage with it. So social channels are absolutely key to this, but it's not the be all and end all.
Right. Got it. All right. So other thing which I want to know, you already touched upon this. So what are the top benefits, real life, the achievable benefits organizations can expect by deploying an ABM strategy?
I would say that the four sort of key ones, and the top one, which is the main reason why everybody went mad for ABM, used ABM approach, saw a higher ROI than any of the marketing strategy. So yeah, I mean, there's so many stats. I'll dig that one out and send it to you. But ROI is key because it's so targeted and focused. Next is the personalization. So that really laser focused, granularly personalization in terms of touch points, marketing, content that you're putting out there. True building and nurturing relationships, because you're trying to connect with these people, but connect with them in a warmer way, and you're trying to nurture these people through various stages of your ABM strategy, rather than, again, the traditional approach of connect and let me try to sell to them. You're being very patient, and then at the end of the day, it's the results. It's the clear results, because ABM is very, very transparent. So you'll know which accounts you've won, which accounts you haven't won, and at the end of the day, you should have enough insight to say, well, we won these ones because of X, Y, and Z. We didn't win these ones because of this. You know which content has worked. You know which content hasn't worked. So when you refine and review, the next time you go again, you should have enough information to have a stronger ABM campaign. But on top of that, you should have enough insight to deploy in your traditional marketing tactics and strategies as well, because there's nothing stopping you using the content, the touch points that have worked and insight has worked so well on ABM, which is laser focused, and applying that to your traditional sort of marketing methods and strategies.
Okay, all right, that's fantastic. All right, so you touched upon this a little bit about content. So I just want to hear it once again from you, a little bit of detail. How crucial is content when it comes to executing your ABM strategy?
Again, it's one of those key points. It's all about the positioning. So with ABM, the way that I do ABM, obviously I'll be working with the sales team, and I'll be aligning with those individuals, and the individuals, the sales professionals that I'm working with. It's my job to make them look, as you always say, a rock star. I need to make them look and position them as the thought leader, as the expert. And to do that is, yes, we can look at their digital footprint, we can look at their online profiles, but a lot of this is going to come down to the content that we create, so this individual can post that out on their own behalf. You know,
Right.
it's as I've always said, if you Google yourself, see what comes up, because
Right.
we do that nowadays. People you connect with, or business cards you get, you put that number, that person's name into Google search engine, what appears, and what you want to appear is good content. You want PR pieces, you want white papers, you want good tweets and good posts, because all of that's going to be in there, as well as your LinkedIn profile. So content is absolutely key to this, in terms of not only engaging with your audience, but also the positioning factor. So, you know, the consumption, the touch points, the engagement you're having, and you know, how regularly you are posting content out there. So you're always staying relevant, you're always staying front of mind, and you're consistent in that approach. So content is key as well.
Absolutely. All right. So now it's a straightforward question to you. So who is the key stakeholder in implementing ABM strategy? Is it sales? Is it marketing? Where does it fit in?
Well, everyone thinks it sits with marketing
Okay.
as per usual, but for me, it's really, you know, it's top down. The company has to embrace its culture, and then it really
Right.
comes down to sales and marketing to come together to champion. So
Right.
again, whenever I've done ABM in the past, I am working with CMOs, the head of sales, and together we come together, we collaborate, and it's collectively our effort. So it does come down to the sales and marketing teams, but the C-suite, they need to embrace and back this, so that when it filters down, you know, everyone is on the same page. It isn't just something that, like what I always say, that marketing sort of, you go away and handle that and make it happen. That's not going to
Right.
work.
Right. Marketing, anyways, doesn't own anything in any organization. So it's
Absolutely.
just a general lead. Anyways, all right. So enough about ABM. We are clear about uh, the approach, the steps to take, the do's and don'ts, the key factors in it, who owns it, etc., etc. So now let's talk about you. And by you, I mean the most exciting thing now is being human, right? Your new book. So why every marketer today should read it? That's number one. Number two, what are the key takeaways from this fantastic book? If you have that book, if you can just show it like this, that would be fantastic, because I have not got my hard copy. I love the cover of it. It's mind blowing. You
I
know,
appreciate it. Yeah, there's a lot of time and effort went into this. A good friend of mine actually did the design on the cover.
fantastic.
Yeah, like it a lot.
Very nice. All right. So tell me a little bit about tell us a little bit about this fantastic book.
So, I mean, the book, in essence, I've said this, and I've written it in the book. It isn't just for fellow marketers and sales professionals. It's really for anyone who wants to cut through the noise and have a true relationship with their audience. The thinking behind the book was really to take the reader and individuals on a journey of how the world around us has evolved. You know, we now live in a digital world. The way that we communicate, the way that we behave, the way that we interact, it's completely changed. You know, we're
Right.
changed as individuals, as consumers. So it really was about taking an individual on a journey of how we traditionally used to talk to people in terms of sales and marketing and the traditional methods and tactics we used to use, and how the consumer has evolved and the technology around us has evolved, but the methods have stayed the same, because, you know, we don't like change. We're lazy. We want the quick fix. We still
Right.
want to, you know, I still want to send 10,000 emails with a click of a button, rather than spending
Right.
2 months doing ABM. It's going to cost me so much money. Why would I do that? I can get more bang for my buck here. Even though, you know, you're getting bounce backs and spams, and the same for cold calling. So it was really about addressing culture, approach, and saying, you know, the world's changed, the tools around us have changed, we've changed. So how do you communicate? How do you market? How do you sell in a digital world? So taking the reader on a journey, talking about, you know, social media, LinkedIn, and then from LinkedIn, social selling, content marketing, all the way through to ABM and the growth stack. So it's almost like a step-by-step guide of little baby steps that you should do. And once you feel comfortable, it's like, okay, go on to the next bit. So that's why in the first instance, talk about social media and LinkedIn. You know, get comfortable with it. What the purpose of social media, what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, what LinkedIn is truly there for, how to extract value from LinkedIn, how to position yourself as a thought leader on it, so how to connect with people, how to communicate. Once you've come comfortable with those chapters, move on to social selling. How to implement a whole social selling strategy, the type of content you need to create, how you should target individuals. Once you've done that, ABM. And then if you're feeling really, really, really brave, then I've got the growth stack, which is where I stack the traditional sales funnel on top of the ABM funnel. So the thinking was really that, and all of it was based upon my experiences, the work that we've done here in the US and Europe, India, etc., and just try to give something back because, as you know, everyone always, it's been written about a lot that once you find your calling, your passion, what you're good at, you should always try to give something back. So my thought process was, if I can take all my inside information and put it into this book, and then give all the donations to charity. That way, the individual is hopefully buying a book that they'll get some value from, but also donating to charity. So it's a win-win. So that was my thinking behind creating Being Human.
Fantastic. And all the profits go to Autism Society, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, the National Autistic Society. Yes.
Fantastic, guys. Check it out. Being Human. It's available on Amazon, and it's a fantastic book. I'm telling you. Just go for it, because coronavirus has taught all of us marketers that your old methods are not going to work anymore. People are becoming smarter. They don't have time for all kinds of crap you try to sell. You have to be. It's time to become more human to human, and social selling and ABM is critical for that. If you're working in a big enterprise or even a smaller company, so check Sudhir's book out, Being Human, available on Amazon. So Sudhir, final question for you today is, how is 2021 looking up, and what lies ahead?
So it's our second week of lockdown here in the UK.
Okay.
So overall, it's the vaccinations and things are going well over here. Promising signs. Just literally taking it day by day. I mean, we're all after the same thing. Everyone wants that to return back to normality. So let's see. We're remaining positive. We're keeping ourselves busy. We're supporting each other. It'll be nice just to see some normality across the world now, because it's it always seems to be where it's quieter here. The pandemic sort of spreads obviously in India. Yeah. We look at France and elsewhere. So it would be nice if we can as a whole unit, as the world, to really clamp down and hopefully try to control this coronavirus. So yeah, we're taking it as it is, and plans ahead. Well, as per usual, we stay positive, we stay active, we stay busy. Just keep on talking to people, keep trying to offer help and support, and we'll continue to push on from there.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Sudhir, for taking time out. I changed the timing of the show because of some issue with the tool. Thank you for being so accommodating, and I look forward to completing your book over the weekend, and talk to you soon.
No, I appreciate that. I was going to say to you that is, definitely get back to me on the book. If anyone wants a copy, you can get Kindle, you can get Amazon. But another thing that we can do Vivek, is for your readers, perhaps we can do a competition, give away 5 copies.
Sure.
If you want to run a competition, and then we just pick 5 people randomly, I'll be more than happy to send them.
Absolutely, I'll set that up. I'll set that up for sure, because I want some marketers in my community, in my network, to absolutely read this book. All right, thank you so much, Sudhir. Stay safe and take care.
Appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
All right. So that was Sudhir. I love this guy. He's such a fantastic person. And can you believe it? First book is always special. He has got that out of his way. I wish him all the best for the future also. So that was episode 39. Crazy days ahead. So I'm not promising an episode for next week, even though I have it scheduled, episode 40. So I'm thinking of taking a break on SMB Talks also, till this coronavirus gets settled down and all my friends and family are safe and sound, and get vaccinated. I'm looking forward to that also. So stay safe, everybody. Wear masks, sanitize like crazy, put it all over your body, hands, face, everywhere. And take care, and see you all next week. Bye-bye.